Did you know there are over 90,000 Americans who've celebrated their 100th birthday? That's enough people to fill a small city. Now here's a question that might have crossed your mind. Are these centenarians, people who've lived for a century or more, still getting Social Security checks? You might think that once someone hits triple digits, the system forgets about them, or that somehow the benefits just stop. But here's the surprising truth. Thousands of Americans who are over 100 years old are still receiving Social Security benefits every single month. And the deeper story behind that fact might just change how you see the entire program. You'd think after so many years, there might be some cutoff point, right? Well, in this video, we're diving into this fascinating intersection of extreme longevity and America's most important safety net program. We'll explore not just if centenarians receive benefits, but how much they get, the special considerations for this remarkable age group, and the incredible stories of Americans who've witnessed over a century of history. The answers might surprise you, and they matter more than you think. So, let's cut right to the chase. Yes, people over 100 years old do continue receiving Social Security benefits. Social Security benefits don't stop just because someone turns 100. There's no expiration date. If you qualify and you're alive, you keep getting those monthly payments. The Social Security Administration, or SSA, doesn't cut people off at a certain age. In fact, longevity is something the system is dealing with more than ever. Americans are living longer, and that means more people are collecting benefits well into their 90s and beyond. The reason is simple. Social Security was designed as a lifelong safety net. When President Roosevelt signed it into law back in 1935, people weren't expected to live much past 65. The average life expectancy then was just 61 years. Nobody anticipated having beneficiaries who'd collect for 30, 40, or even 50-plus years. But that's exactly what's happening now. Americans are living longer than ever, and our Social Security system has adapted, continuing to deliver on its promise no matter how many candles are on your birthday cake. In 2020, more than 76,000 people over the age of 100 were receiving Social Security benefits, and that number is only climbing. It's a mix of retired workers, widows, spouses, and even some disabled adult children who qualify under their parents' earnings record. According to both the Census Bureau and SSA, the U.S. had about 90,000 centenarians as of 2021. That's roughly 1 in every 3,600 Americans. But there's much more to this story. How exactly does Social Security track these super seniors? How much money are they getting? And what special challenges come with managing benefits for the oldest Americans? Let's dig deeper. The Social Security Administration doesn't publicly publish exact numbers of beneficiaries by single year of age once they pass 90. But through congressional testimony and reports from the SSA's Office of Inspector General, we've learned there are approximately 76,000 Americans over 100 receiving Social Security benefits. You might remember that Social Security numbers used to tell you where someone was born. That helped with identifying older records. Today, the SSA uses multiple cross-check systems, including Medicare data and state death records, to make sure they're not sending checks to someone who's passed away. According to SSA's Inspector General, over 2.8 million death reports were processed in 2023 alone. Now you might be wondering, how does the SSA even know someone's really 100? It's a fair question, especially since many centenarians were born before standardized birth certificates. Benefits continue automatically unless the SSA is notified of a death. And yes, they do have systems in place to confirm that recipients are still alive. In some cases, those over 100 are asked to verify their status. If someone is unable to appear in person, there are accommodations, verification by phone, through an authorized representative, or a doctor's note. As former SSA Commissioner Michael Astrew explained in a policy statement a few years back, we recognize the unique challenges faced by our oldest beneficiaries and have implemented streamlined verification procedures that can often be completed by phone or through authorized representatives. This might seem like a lot of bureaucracy, but it's necessary. With millions of dollars going out each month to centenarians, the system needs to ensure accuracy while also respecting the dignity and limitations of our oldest citizens. Let's talk dollars and cents. How much does a typical centenarian receive from Social Security? The average monthly benefit for a centenarian is about $1,650. That's a bit lower than the average for all retirees, which is around $1,840. Why the difference? Many of today's centenarians started their careers during the Great Depression or World War II, when wages were significantly lower, even accounting for inflation. Since benefits are calculated based on lifetime earnings, this creates a unique situation for the oldest beneficiaries. Take Emma Johnson, for example. She's 102, and she spent over 40 years working as a teacher before retiring in 1985. Back then, her Social Security check was just $517. Today, after decades of inflation adjustments, she receives about $1,600 each month. But here's the kicker. Had Emma worked the same 44 years ending in 2023 rather than 1985, her benefit would be approximately $2,200 monthly. That's the difference between starting a career during the Depression versus the modern era. What's amazing is how the Social Security system continues to provide these automatic adjustments. Each year, benefits increase with the Consumer Price Index, ensuring that even centenarians who retired 40-plus years ago maintain some purchasing power in today's economy. And these benefits continue uninterrupted. There's no need to reapply or jump through hoops just because you've hit 100. The system was designed for continuity and simplicity, which is especially important for the oldest Americans. Now let's talk about how the SSA delivers those payments. As you'd expect, most people over 100 aren't heading down to the bank anymore. Nearly 99% of all benefits are now paid through direct deposit. For those living in assisted care facilities or who can't manage their finances, there's a system called a representative payee. When beneficiaries can no longer manage their finances, which is common after 100, a designated representative, often an adult child in their 70s, can be appointed to receive and manage the funds. Consider Robert Williams, who just turned 101. His daughter Patricia handles his Social Security account. The SSA requires her to provide a detailed report every year showing how the money is used. It might seem like a lot of paperwork, but as Patricia told us, she's grateful for the extra protection. In 2022, the SSA's fraud detection systems flagged over 1,200 cases of suspected financial abuse involving people over the age of 95. This matters because elder financial abuse is a serious concern, especially for the oldest Americans. According to a 2022 report from the SSA's Inspector General, enhanced screening procedures specifically targeting accounts of beneficiaries over 90 identified over 1,200 cases of suspected elder financial abuse among beneficiaries over 95 in just 1 year. The SSA also coordinates with Medicare data to help verify beneficiary status. When someone uses Medicare services, it creates an electronic footprint that helps confirm they're still alive. This system isn't perfect, but it represents a remarkable effort to balance benefit delivery with program integrity for our oldest citizens. The oldest verified Social Security recipient was Sarah Knaus, who lived to 119 years and received benefits for 54 years before her death in 1999. That means she collected payments for nearly half her life. Today I spoke with Agnes Thompson of Omaha, who celebrated her 107th birthday last month. She began collecting Social Security in 1980 at age 62 and has now received benefits for 45 years, nearly as long as her working career as a telephone operator from 1935 to 1979. "I never expected to live this long," Thompson told me. "My Social Security has been my lifeline all these years." Her benefits have increased from her initial check of $385 to $1,128 today. The SSA faces unique verification challenges with supercentenarians, those over 110, as they were born before birth certificates were standardized. According to SSA historian Larry DeWitt, for the oldest beneficiaries, we sometimes rely on census records from 1920 or earlier, combined with other historical documents to verify their age claims. Not all centenarians are retired either. Take Walter Orthman from Brazil, who at 100 years old held the Guinness World Record for the longest career at the same company, 84 years and counting. While he's not an American Social Security recipient, his story shows that some centenarians remain active well beyond typical retirement age. Here in the U.S., the SSA allows beneficiaries of any age to work while receiving benefits, though earnings limits may apply depending on their situation. For most people over full retirement age, including centenarians, there is no penalty for working while receiving benefits. You've probably heard stories about Social Security paying benefits to people who died years ago. But how common is this really? While fraud does happen and mistakes can occur, the idea that there are thousands of ghost recipients draining the system just isn't backed up by the data. In one real case from 2021, a family continued to cash their great-aunt's checks for 4 years after she passed away, collecting over $90,000 before being caught. That's fraud. But it's also rare. The SSA uses a tool called the Death Master File to match death records across government databases. Most payment errors are caught and corrected quickly. And while we're on the topic of remarkable stories, let's highlight a few. Sarah Knaus was the oldest verified Social Security recipient. She lived to 119 and collected benefits for 54 years before passing in 1999. That's more than half her life receiving retirement checks. The truth is, the SSA has sophisticated systems to prevent payments to deceased beneficiaries. They process about 2.8 million death reports annually from funeral homes, families, states, and other federal agencies. A 2015 Office of Inspector General report found 6.5 million people had no death date recorded in SSA systems, which sounds alarming. But follow-up investigation revealed most were people who had applied for Social Security numbers decades ago but never claimed benefits. Very few were actually receiving improper payments. The SSA has significantly improved its death reporting since then. Current estimates suggest ghost payments represent less than 0.2% of all benefit outlays, a remarkably low error rate for a program disbursing over $1 trillion annually. That said, centenarian cases present unique challenges. When someone lives well beyond statistical norms, automated systems may flag their account for review, sometimes causing temporary disruptions in benefits. The SSA has implemented special procedures to prevent this from happening to verified centenarians. One fascinating aspect, the SSA maintains a Centenarian project to preemptively contact beneficiaries approaching 100 to verify their status and ensure uninterrupted benefits as they join this elite demographic group. Now let's zoom out a bit. What does this mean for the future of Social Security? Well, as people live longer, the program has to pay out for more years. If you retire at 65 and live to 105, that's 40 years of benefits, double what the system was originally designed for. Right now, Social Security pays about $1.9 billion a year to people over 100. That might sound like a lot, but it's less than 0.2% of all Social Security spending. The real challenge isn't the centenarians, it's the wave of baby boomers retiring. But here's where things get interesting. The financial impact of our growing centenarian population is projected to increase significantly by 2050, when demographers estimate there may be over 400,000 Americans aged 100 or older. That would increase centenarian benefit costs to approximately $8.7 billion annually in today's dollars. Stephen Goss, chief actuary of the Social Security Administration, noted in testimony to Congress last year, "While the growth in the centenarian population is remarkable, it's actually the broader aging of the baby boom generation that presents the primary funding challenge for Social Security in the coming decades." When the system was designed in the 1930s, life expectancy at 65 was about 12 more years for men and 13 for women. Today, it's 18 years for men and 20.5 for women, and those are just averages. Many people live much longer. This longevity bonus is wonderful news for individuals but creates funding challenges for the system. The 2024 Trustees Report projects that without changes, the Social Security Trust Fund will be depleted by 2035, at which point the program could pay only about 80% of promised benefits from ongoing payroll taxes. Various policy proposals aim to address this, from raising the retirement age to increasing payroll taxes to means testing benefits. What's clear is that as Americans live longer, the system designed for a different demographic reality must evolve. Yes, Americans over 100 do receive Social Security. Their benefits continue for life, and in many cases, those benefits have been a critical support system, sometimes the only consistent income they've had in decades. The system is far from perfect, but it still works for the oldest among us. It's also a reminder of the value of accurate records, strong fraud protections, and a safety net that adapts with time. These aren't just numbers on a spreadsheet. They're people, veterans, teachers, factory workers, who spent their lives building the country we live in today. From the growing centenarian population to the special considerations made for these remarkable individuals, the system adapts to serve those who have witnessed over a century of American history. What's perhaps most striking is that Social Security fulfills its promise of lifetime income security, even for those with extraordinarily long lives. As 105-year-old veteran James Miller told us, "I never imagined I'd live to see 2025, but I'm grateful that the system my generation helped build is still supporting me." For a program designed in the 1930s, that's an achievement worth recognizing. Behind every centenarian receiving Social Security is a lifetime of contribution, decades of work, taxes paid, and faith in a system designed to protect them in old age. As Americans live longer, the system must evolve, without losing its fundamental promise. The story of centenarians and Social Security reminds us that good policy can span generations, adapting to changing realities while maintaining its core purpose. It's a lesson worth remembering as we consider the future of this vital program. I want to encourage you to check on the Social Security records for yourself and your older family members. Making sure everything's accurate now can prevent headaches down the road, especially if you're planning on breaking some longevity records yourself. Do you know someone over 100 still receiving Social Security? Or maybe you have questions about how benefits work for the oldest Americans. Drop a comment below. We'd love to hear your stories and answer your questions. And don't forget to subscribe to the Retirement Report for more insights that help you plan for a secure future, no matter how long it lasts. Stay informed, stay healthy, and who knows, maybe we'll be reporting on your 100th birthday someday.